Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is Fish Room Vlog number 18, and as you can see, I've put together a few undergravel filters. Three of these are going to be used in a new version of an old experiment I had run. A while back, I had taken Vallisneria in gravel and Vallisneria in soil capped with gravel, and I got some interesting results with the growth. And also, I had taken a number of different substrates. One of them was a commercial plant growth substrate that I put it in a gravel filter, and I've been getting some interesting results with the plants growing in that tank. So what I want to do is I want to recreate it, but not just with Vallisneria. I want to try a number of different things. So in the comments below, let me know what plants you'd like to see. Currently the ones I'm thinking about doing are, well, Vallisneria because I have it, and also I'm going to do Cryptic Green because I have it, and probably some red Luigia because again I have it. But if there's other ones that you are interested in seeing, let me know. This is the red Luigia here that I put in this particular high humidity planter filter a week ago, and you can see it's already growing really nicely. So I want to not necessarily just grow them in things like this. I want to also grow them in the aquariums, but they're going to also all have high humidity planter filters. So let me know what you think and what you want to see, because I do want to incorporate some of that, because there are a lot of comments I got in those videos involving suggestions for different plants and what different plants feed on and all that sort of stuff. So I do want to have that involved in this. Keep in mind they are 15-gallon tanks, so I can't put too much in there. But I do want to, incorporate some of that. As you see here, I have picked up a couple new fish. I've been trying to get some local fish from breeders and from people who are just either getting out of the hobby or want to put new fish in their tanks. And I got this nice little group of high-fin pepper corridores, and I'm really happy to have them. And I can see the corridors concolor are doing really quite well as two, and I'm actually very happy about that as well. So what I want to do today is, well, after I show you this, those tanks that I'm going to be using for the experiments, I needed to thin out some fish that are in them. And in this particular case, I was trying to divide up the plecos I have. I have one tank where there's plecos breeding, and they're breeding like crazy. I think they're into the third batch now. And so I'm catching a few of them out, and as you can see, my cat really enjoys getting in and helping. So that's what he's doing. What I'm going to do here is the planter filter that was in that tank. This one here, as a matter of fact, and as you can see, has gotten quite overgrown, and actually in a relatively short period of time. And it needs to be pruned back, which is good in the sense that it'll give me some cuttings for the new plant experiment, not just for the high humidity planters that are going to be on it, but also for in the water itself. And as you can see, the pearlweed here has gotten to the point where it's starting to interfere, well, it's at least growing out the holes for the filter. The filter will still run properly, but with the holes plugged up a little bit, it doesn't quite turn over the surface of the water as much as I like, so it needs to be pruned back a little bit there as well. And actually that brings me to the reasons why I'm doing the planter experiment. I don't really need to grow plants faster. As a matter of fact, I don't want to, because I find that I spend the most time, the maintenance time, in my fish room, not on water changes, because it's all fairly automatic, and not on getting mulm out of the bottom, because I don't really get that much. But I spend a lot of my time in doing this, pruning plants, not just out of the planters, because the planters don't really interfere much in the way of the tank's operation. Now, when it comes to plants actually in the aquariums, that's a different story. And I do plan on doing a video on plants and what happens when they get overcrowded and how it interferes with fish's ability to grow, find food, and water flow and all that sort of stuff as well. But I don't really want to get into that right here. But it is something that needs to be addressed constantly. So the reason why I'm doing the planter experiments is just more out of curiosity, seeing if I can get, well, more vibrant plants. Well, these are really nice and green, so probably not that, but more of a variety of plants growing. There are a lot more plants than what I grow in my fish room, I do want to try growing out some red Luigia with a little bit more vibrant color. I find it does better in certain circumstances, and I want to see if I can find it like an inexpensive way of doing it. I mean, a bag of soil lasts me years, and it costs what, $2? And then again, if you saw from the old experiments I did with Vallisneria, it doesn't necessarily for some plants matter, but for other plants it does. So I want to branch out a little bit. I mean, I've grown pretty much most commercially available plants at one time or another, and I don't fertilize. I don't use root tabs. I don't do any of that stuff, and I don't do full soil bottom aquariums because I find that you end up with, in time, more work to do than using this sort of style where the plants are growing in specific spots, not necessarily above the water like this, but in actual planters in the aquarium. And I find it's much easier to pull out one of those planters, especially if one's getting overgrown. I can swap one out with a client and put another one in, and in a matter of moments, it's all done, and they don't really have to worry about me being there for hours and fiddling around with the aquarium and making everything dirty and that sort of stuff. So enough said about that. This is an experiment just to see if I can recreate certain types of growth, and you'll see as we go along. I'm going to probably put up the initial video for that on Wednesday. This also needs to be a little bit cleaned, and we'll see how it goes. So definitely leave comments below as to what you would like to see, if there's a particular species of plant you would like to see in these, and then we'll go from there. Now, Wednesdays will be the setup, so there will be a few plants put in it. But because it's going to be one of those ongoing things, probably about 2-3 months at least anyway, things can be added at any point in time. As long as I'm adding the individual plants and whatnot all at the same time in each of the 3 tanks, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, that'll all be Wednesday. This is the Daphne experiment. I think I've been showing it every week now consistently since I set this up. And as you can see, the Daphne and this is the wild Daphne. They're doing really quite well. I've swapped out to using yeast and free-floating algae. And one other thing I've done is I reset this whole tank. And what I'm going to do is I went and contacted a gentleman who had Daphne, I'm going to probably mispronounce this, Moina, I think. And I bought a couple of starter cultures off of him. So that's this here. And I am going to put these in this aquarium here. It's been cleaned out thoroughly, and I've gotten rid of anything that's in there. Well, any Daphne anyway. And I'm going to reset this. So this is going to be run with this pure culture of Daphnia, and I'm going to feed it yeast and also my free-floating algae culture, and we'll see how that goes. The reason why I did this is this particular Daphne, as you can see, is a little bit larger. I don't want to use Magna because Magna is just too big. Most of my fish are relatively in the guppy platy size, and Magna is just way too big. So this is going to be a slightly larger version for more like not so much adults, but juveniles to adults. And unfortunately, I was noticing when I first put these in that a lot of them went straight to the bottom, which is a bad sign. Well, that's all right. So here it is. This is, I think 2 days later. This is the original. This is my wild tank. As you can see, they've been feeding yeast now. So this is a population that I really like. This is good. That's what I want to see. And this is coming back, which is nice. Like I said, I'm feeding the yeast, and they seem to be good. And unfortunately, the ones that are on the bottom probably died. But that's not a problem, because these things have a geometric progression for growth that it really doesn't make any difference. So there you go. These 2 tanks are doing nicely now. And I'm going to switch over to, this is, I think, another 2 days later, maybe 3, I'm not sure. And as you can see, I've been harvesting this, which is nice. And unfortunately, the pure culture is not, it's just not thriving. It's not, I mean, this is teeming, and as you can see, it's doing really, really well. And in here, the population is declining. I have no idea why. They're exactly the same conditions. There's nothing different between the two tanks, really. The feeding regime is the same. It's just not doing well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to inoculate from here into the tank next door. And I'm going to have 2 of these cultures going because it's just doing very well. And I've been feeding quite, not often, but about 2 times a week out of this tank. And this is the process I do. This is how easy this is. This is one of the reasons why I really like, oh, sorry about the finger there, by the way. I do 3 scoops of the net, and that's Daphnia. And that's really nice. So I'm going to dump that in. As you can see, I'm not using the culture water this time because I want you to see what it looks like. And I don't always use the culture water because sometimes there's a lot of yeast in there. I just don't want to throw that in the aquariums. When it's clearer like it is right now, it's not so bad. But in this particular case, I'm just going to use, this is just tank water. And as you can see, there's an awful lot of Daphnia in there. And then I'm going to pour this into a few of the tanks and feed the fish. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It's very easy to do, as you can see, which is a big plus for me. So anyway, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe and let me know what you think for sure. And as you can see, the fish love this stuff, which is good. And that's the whole point, right? To give them a variety of diet and helps them grow, makes them more and more interested in being alive, all that fun stuff. So anyway, thanks you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.